Greetings from the beach. Picture this. You're 19 years old, you're a talented guitarist seeking big success, and suddenly, bam, you've been recruited by none other than Ozzy Osbourne himself. Sounds like a dream, right? Well, for Zakk Wylde, this dream actually came true. He started his career where many others have ended theirs, making quite an impression. Specifically, in a maximum security prison facility. So stay tuned. Grab some popcorn or a beer. I bet Zakk would approve of this. Let's dive into one of rock and roll's craziest stories. It features heavy riffs, crazy criminals, and tea served by a serial killer. But let's not waste too much time. Let's dive into the story. Back in 1987, Zakk Wylde was a young guitarist hanging out in New Jersey bars, playing gigs with his band. And hold on tight because the name was absolutely legendary, Stonehenge. Yeah, that's what the band was called. It might seem cool, but let's be honest, it sounds more like a funeral home than a rock band. One evening after a show, a guy named Dave Feld approached Zakk and said something like, "Hey, do you sing?" Zakk, with the confidence of a teenager who spent his entire adolescence practicing instead of going on dates, he replied with yes. Yes, fine. And it was a good move because Feld had connections with Ozzy Osbourne. Zakk didn't hesitate at all. The next day, Amy's sister took some pictures of her on the porch to parent them. Nothing screams rockstar more than a photo shoot on the porch. Then he recorded a tape with 3 classic Ozzy songs. Crazy Train, I Don't Know, and Mr. Crowley. But instead of mailing the tape like an ordinary person, Zakk did something way cooler. I personally drove to New York to deliver it directly. He got there and guess what? One day, he went drinking with Andre the Giant. Yes, you heard it right. A legendary drunk and a 200-kilogram wrestler. What could possibly go wrong in this situation? The next day, Zakk's phone rang. Who was it? Sharon Osbourne. At first, Zakk thought some silly friend was bugging Micah to prank call him. But then he realized that the delay in the call was due to the distance between the United States and the United Kingdom. It might actually be Sharon. He didn't just call to wish him luck, but also to invite him to Los Angeles for an audition with Ozzy. When Zakk got there, he noticed the other guitarists at the audition weren't Ozzy fans. They seemed like guys who were just there for the paycheck. So when Zakk started singing, everyone was really impressed. Ozzy looked at Sharon. He gave the classic thumbs up and boom, it was done. He was on the right track. But hearing wasn't the whole story. Ozzy took Zakk to England to see if they could write music together. And guess what? They managed it. Zakk helped write all the songs on the 1988 album No Rest for the Wicked. But before he could get to the studio, he had to pass one last test, his first concert. Where do you think the first concert was held? In a stadium packed with ecstatic fans? No, on a huge stadium, right? No way, but in a high-security British prison, that's where it happened. It's a prison in West London. I've noticed that 53% of people visiting my channel aren't subscribed yet. So I invite you to hit the subscribe button to help grow a wonderful community even more. That's the only way my platform can grow. You'll get to hear even crazier stories from the world of rock music and movies. Let's keep moving forward. So, what do you do when you have a new guitarist and want to get him used to touring, but without paparazzi following you around? Make him sing in front of dangerous criminals. Of course. I mean, Ozzy didn't really think of that. Someone on his team thought it would be a good way to practice live. The issue was that to perform in prison, they needed permission from the British Prime Minister. Yes, Margaret Thatcher had to sign some papers so Ozzy could perform rock and roll for some prisoners. And we're not talking about pickpockets here. Among the audience were 2 criminals responsible for the deaths of over 50 people. Also, a guy who killed his family for inheritance. A public choice, right? The setlist got lost over time, but we definitely know the last song was Jailhouse Rock. Symbolic, right? As if the mood wasn't tense enough already. At the end of the show, a group of prisoners stormed the stage, led by a guy who was involved in killing a cop during some riots. What did Zakk feel? All I could think about was hoping to pass that darn test. I was the closest thing to Pamela Anderson these inmates would ever see in their lives. Ozzy later shared this experience in his autobiography, giving readers insight into his life. saying it was one of the last great memories from the 80s, before everything descends into complete chaos. That's how Zakk Wylde's career with Ozzy Osbourne started. Not with a PEC stadium, not with an epic video on MTV. He was with an impromptu band among prisoners serving life sentences. And Ozzy, in his usual style, he gave Zakk a golden piece of advice. You can either be Peter Grant, the manager of Led Zeppelin, John Bonham, their drummer, but never both together. In other words, choose between making money or drinking yourself to death with too many shots of Jack Daniels. And just like that, a teenager dreaming of singing with Ozzy woke up in hell. He survived, and since then, his riffs have become absolutely legendary, inspiring countless musicians around the world. If you enjoyed the story, give it a like. Share this and tell me in the comments about the craziest concert you've attended. Don't forget there's a link in the video description where you can leave me feedback, and another place where you can get your daily coffee fix. I can earn a commission as an affiliate. Here's how you can help my platform grow. And may you experience some crazy stories along the way. Until next time, take care, and I wish you lots of good health. Here's to you. Cheers!